All throughout my childhood, I only had two friends. We would hang out together all the time. But as the time went on and as we got older, at around 16, we just didn't have that much fun together. Don't get me wrong, we were still best buds, but something was missing. We needed adventure. We needed something different. Hey man, what's up? Johnny called me one afternoon. Nothing, just playing some Call of Duty. What about you? I answered while stuffing my face with some potato chips. Andrew's here, and we were talking. How about you ask your mom if she'll let you borrow her car, he told me. Her car? She'd never do that. But why? We could go on a road trip, just the three of us, Johnny responded. I mean, a road trip does sound pretty fun. And I had really good grades throughout the year. Why wouldn't mom let me take the car? I spoke to my mom that evening. She wasn't thrilled with the idea. Her car was almost brand new after all. But she came up with a different plan. My uncle had a beat-up hatchback, and since I was his favorite nephew, he immediately told me to go get the keys. He supported the idea that boys should do such things, road trips, fishing trips, and so on. Fast forward, and there we were, the three of us. I started the car. After some time, we were far away from the city. Well, we were far away from everything. On the right side of the road, there were fields as far as the eye could see, and on the left one, a thick forest. Dude, what's that? Johnny pointed at something ahead. As I looked closer, I could see it too. On the horizon, there was a glowing red orb. It seemed like it was floating in midair. I don't know, man, but I don't like it. It's a shop. What kind of place would have that thing on top of it? Johnny asked. And he was right. It was a small shop right in the middle of nowhere. I guess the orb had the purpose of drawing attention. Who knows? Stop the car. Let's see what they're selling. It's really nothing here, well, except for this creepy store. The place looked strange from the outside. It was a small shop made out of wood, with the windows blocked from the inside. I opened the door, and the loudest creak made us cover our ears. Hello? I said after going inside, but no one answered. We started browsing around, and we stumbled across old stuff, old and dusty. A chair, a dresser, some coins, the usual. Look at this, Andrew yelled. Because he was so excited, we immediately went to the darkest corner of the store to see what he found. A mirror? I said, without being impressed. But the mirror had something special. On the frame, right in the middle, was a small demon. It was carved out of wood. The demon was smiling, and one hand was pointed towards us. It seemed to be having 4 horns coming out of its head. I take it back, it's really cool, I added, and my two friends agreed with me. Just as we talked about it, a creepy, deep voice startled us. Hello, he said. I turned around and saw a small man, all dressed in a black kimono of some sort. His face looked sick, and a long white beard flowed down to his knees. If you boys want to buy it, just be sure to not look in the mirror after dark. Andrew started to laugh, and so did me and Johnny. If this is your attempt to make it more interesting, well, you succeeded. We'll buy it, Andrew said while grabbing it and taking it to the counter. Nighttime came in a flash, and we decided to set camp. I chose to sleep in the car. Johnny and Andrew wanted the outdoor experience, so they set a tent right next to the forest. We had a couple of beers and went to sleep. We were wiped. Because I couldn't sleep, I got out of the car to stretch my legs. I looked in the mirror, and even though it was dark outside, the reflection was as clear as it would be in the daylight. I was intrigued, but that wasn't the only strange thing. I saw something behind me in the reflection. It was some sort of a shadow. I got scared and turned around, but to my surprise, nothing was there. I decided to get the mirror out of the car so I can have more room to sleep in the back seat. I leaned it against the outside of the car before getting back in. In the middle of the night, Johnny heard something in the woods. He came and woke me up. Dude, I think there's a wolf out there. I heard a growl. he told me while I could barely open my eyes. He then sees the mirror. He too sees something in the reflection behind him, but when he turns around, he doesn't see anything. Andrew then woke up, not being able to sleep as we were talking so loudly. We told him what we saw, but he just laughed, telling us that we were drunk. He looked in the mirror, but nothing was behind him. See, I told you. Then he saw some writing on the frame. The writing was in another language, so he started reading it out loud, letter by letter. After he read it, a loud thunder almost blew out our eardrums. It was so loud that the mirror cracked. We couldn't believe it. After a couple of seconds, I noticed the car rocking back and forth. I stepped away from it, not knowing what was going on. The motion was accompanied by the sound of claws scraping on metal. I go around to see what in the hell happened, and I froze. Huge claw marks on half of the hood. Dudes, this is bad. We gotta get out of here. I told them before they saw the claw marks too. We began looking around, but didn't see anything. We got in the car, and as soon as we did, something landed on the windshield, cracking it. We didn't know what to do, and at that moment, the glass got ripped out and thrown away into the distance. What we saw made our hearts race. A 7-foot demon was standing on top of the hood. It was covered in fur and resembled some type of bear or wolf. But that's not all. Just like the carving on the mirror frame, it had 4 twisted horns coming out of its head. His eyes were a mixture of human and beast, staring right into our souls. It growled at us, revealing his set of razor-sharp fangs that glistened in the moonlight. We got out of the car and ran towards the main road. Maybe we could get help. As we ran, the demon let out a terrifying scream, which made all the birds that were sleeping in the trees fly away. He chased us down and grabbed Andrew's leg before throwing him against a tree. He lost consciousness immediately. We even thought he died on the spot. Me and Johnny split up. I went towards the car. The demon went for Johnny and pinned him to the ground. He was screaming, but the demon lifted his head and slashed his face with his long claws, while laughing and, at the same time, his fangs being inches away from Johnny's face, drool spilling on his wounds. I reached the car. I saw the mirror, and then something hit me. I remembered that things changed and the demon appeared right after we read that text on the frame. I thought maybe the same thing will make it go away, but it had to be another text. I looked around the mirror. I hurried as much as I could. Johnny was fighting for his life there, screaming his lungs out. Cold sweats were going down my spine. I knew I had to save his life. I saw that the back of the mirror was covered in some sort of paper, and there were ridges under it that kind of resembled letters. I ripped the paper immediately, and I was right. It was another strange text, and without losing any time, I started reading it just like before, letter by letter, but nothing happened. I got desperate. I was running out of breath, and adrenaline was rushing through my veins. We can't die like this, I said to myself before saying the words again. Nothing happened. I was hopeless. I closed my eyes and grabbed the mirror. I was so frustrated that I wanted to smash it against the car. While holding it, I felt something. There were other words right in the corner where I didn't rip the paper. As I said the full text this time, the sky became filled with lightning as if it were a light show. The winds picked up, and they were so strong that the demon was starting to get blown away from on top of Johnny. As I watched the entire scene unfold, I saw it being lifted into the air and spun around. Johnny also watched in disbelief. The demon was letting out a deafening noise. He spun faster and faster, and all of a sudden, he turned into dust and went right inside the mirror. "Andrew!" I yelled. Johnny was already right next to him. "He's alive," he told me, and I was so relieved. After Andrew woke up, we decided to destroy the mirror. We smashed it into a million pieces and buried piece by piece in different places all around the forest. "Heck of a road trip, huh?" Johnny said while we were putting alcohol on the cuts on his face. We all laughed, but we knew that we barely cheated death a few moments earlier.